So imagine if you was armed with the knowledge that the feminine aspect is wisdom. So now you know what to look for in a wife, a woman who has wisdom. And I mean, look around us. Look around. There's not many of that going on. Wisdom. Everybody's chasing after the next fad or trend. You see, everybody's doing things that are not wise. Why? Because we come from a system that taught us not to be wise. They taught us that we needed their education system to go get a job. That's not wisdom. That's not wise, because that's not what God gave us. Remember, wisdom is worth more than gold, silver, and any riches you got. See, when they told the story of Solomon when he became king and God asked him what he wanted, he said wisdom. This here, it really opens your eyes up to why they took this out, so that you don't see the power of both man and woman. So they had to choose one. They chose one and put the other one down, and you need them together. See, that man, Solomon, knew he needed wisdom. He needed that feminine aspect of knowledge and understanding and compassion. You have to go through something to accomplish something. Say it again. You have to go through something to accomplish something. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not willing to go through something to accomplish something. It's too hard. That's too much. I hear people say it all the time. Man, that stuff you do, I couldn't do that. Working that hard and making all those phone calls, get those loads. I can't do it. That's too much. Basically what they're saying, it's easier for them to go work for somebody and be told what to do. That's what's easy. I think they just be talking when they say that. They don't really understand what they're saying. It's like Christ said when they had him up there, crucify him, and he said, forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. And I'll say to that, forgive them, Father. They know not what they say. They don't know the consequences of their very words. They don't know. It's that simple. Do you realize that you're receiving your reward of every word that you utter out of your mouth? There's a saying in the church, power of life and death is in the tongue. And that is very true. The power of life and death is in your tongue. The power of success and failure is in your tongue, in the words you utter. Not just the words you utter, the words you think, because the thinking of the words come before you actually speak it. You have to double down on it, meaning you have to contract with the word before you speak it, right? You think about it, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and you speak it. You think about it, then you decide to speak it. You create a contract with your consciousness. Oh, I accept what this is as the truth, and I'm going to speak it now so that I can solidify it and see that it comes forth. Peace. What's up? Let's make sure the mic is working good. It is. So government shutdown. But before I get into all that, let me thank everybody who's on. The few people that are on that are dedicated to listening to what I have to say on a weekly basis. I really appreciate you guys. It's you guys that keep me in business. I don't have to have thousands. All I need is one. And everything else is cream on the in the coffee. That's it. Just one. Because it's always the fact that it's only a few people that is gonna actually make a difference and break those family curses in there that they have. It's only gonna be a few. It's a handful. The job that I have is just to give you the word. Just give it to you to the best of my ability. And what you do with it is up to you. I don't care to force anybody to believe what I have to say. But what I do say, look at your life and see how it's working out for you. Like, look at where you are right now and everything you are from the moment you took a breath into this 3D realm. Until this point right now, are you happy with it, with the results? Because the person who you are is what you get. All of the results you have right now is as a result of all of the thoughts, consciousness, belief systems that you contracted with. Everything. Everything. There's nothing that you have right now that didn't come from a prior belief system, a prior contract that you had unconsciously, consciously. So what I'm saying, you are responsible for the position that you're in right now. That's what I'm saying. Whether good or bad. Life is indifferent to outcomes because you control the outcomes. See, people think they can listen to Reverend Ike every day and think that's going to, it helps. Reverend Ike helps. But you actually got to apply the principles. You actually have to do something. And one of the biggest things that Reverend Ike talks about is your associations, whether it be through music, books you read, TV you watch, and most importantly, the people you are connected with. These are the things that are giving you the results that you have right now. Somehow people eat the things you're smoking, the things you're drinking. Think, oh, I can smoke this, I can do this. Listen, if you are in an impoverished situation now and you're smoking something, getting high, that means that very thing is what's hindering you from getting to the next level. So that means you need to fast. And I don't know too many people that get high and they're successful. I don't know. I know people that get some level of success, but like on the super successful side, most of the people don't have those types of habits. Like the success I'm talking about that changes generations, that change the trajectory of your family's prosperity from to the third and fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation. They don't have those type of habits. See, usually it's the people with the lower incomes, the lower, the things, the lower incomes that want to smoke and drink and party. They want to put the party in that good time before the hard work it takes to succeed. There's only one high you should be looking for, and that's the high of consciousness, the higher levels of consciousness. Yes, there are some things like that you can take, little ayahuasca, things like that, to remove the veil. I'm talking about those people that you constantly got to put. They're not doing it for spiritual purposes. They're doing it for entertainment purposes only. And then they got the government paying their bills. And see, and this was the topic of this conversation. So the government about to snatch people's benefits, those food stamps, SNAP, and whatever you want to call them. You know, back in my day, we called them food stamps because they actually had these little coupons. You turn them in, fake money that they made. And it was only to be used on food. Right? But now, the government is shut down. They've been shut down since the middle of September. What are you going to do? Bitch and moan about it? Or are you going to do something about it? Because if you follow the principles of the Bible, you wouldn't have to worry about those food stamps going away. Because there is a blueprint. See, the churches of today have made people believe that you have to give them money, 10th of your paycheck. And some churches even want to see your salary in order to tell you what you're supposed to give them money-wise. But the Bible was clear. There was a priest class, and that was the Levites. They didn't have land inheritance, but their sole job was to manage the spirituality of all of the tribes, meaning they managed the Ark of the Covenant, they managed the holy rituals, and people were to bring their 10th of, let's go. Like, I got it right here. I got it. I got a whole thing here that I just kind of threw together to help y'all understand. Let's see if I can. It's not what I want to do. I want to do pages. I want to yeah. There it is. Complete biblical study on tithes and offerings. So this study presents a comprehensive examination of all biblical passages regarding tithes and offerings. It explores the purpose, administration, and divine intent behind the tithe system from the Old Covenant to its New Testament understandings. The goal is to provide ministers and students of Scripture a full contextual foundation for teaching and application within modern ministry practices. So the part one of this, tithing in the Old Testament is rooted in divine law and agricultural society. The tithe represents a 10th of all produce, livestock, or increase. It was declared holy, set apart unto the Lord. So they were supposed to bring grain, herds, the 10th of that. And they were supposed to bring the best. And it was brought in and it was stored in the house of the Lord. Why? Why do you think God needed the food? For what? For times of famine. Things happen to be prepared, because the priest took part of that. Whatever came in, then they gave a 10th to the priest that was for their service. But a lot of that was stored for people in need. Leviticus 27:30-34. The tithe of land, grain, and herd is holy to the Lord. It is his property. I would say it's God's property. Why? Because we didn't create any of that. We just manage it. We're like trustees. We manage all of that thing, all of those things. We help reproduce it. Numbers 18:21-26. God gave the tithe to the Levites as their inheritance for tabernacle service. The Levites then tithed the 10th of that to the priest, the tithe of the tithe. So whatever came into the to the Levites, they took a 10th of that and gave it to the priest. Now let's make some comparisons to the way tithes are set up in today's churches. You give them money. Do the pastor get a 10th? Or do he get it all? I know they got, churches and business got to run the church. No, they build mansions for themselves. Off of the backs of the people. They go and get huge estates, buy planes. I was watching a clip where I think it was one of the whiners asked for $2,000 and the lady bought only $1,200. He said, I didn't say that. I didn't say give me that. I told you $2,000. That was all the woman had. Y'all remember the story of the lady that gave that very expensive perfume and poured it on Jesus? And it was like, what is wrong with you? And Jesus said, no, this was the best gift out of everyone's gift because she gave all she had. See, it's not about the amount of the gift, it's about the intent and your abilities, meaning she gave the most expensive thing that was in her possession. And let's dig deep into that. Think about it. She gave all she had. She could have sold it and got some money and fed herself, fed her family. But she gave all of that because she knew one thing. If she'd have gave that, it was coming back. And it was so powerful, we still talk about it today. Out of all of the gifts that people were giving, and they talked about people were coming to Christ and giving gifts for his service, for his liberation service, meaning Christ came in and he was preaching like no other priest had before him. He was teaching them how to use their own mind. That's why he traveled different places. He went to the people and the people followed. And that's on the physical interpretation. Feel like I want to sneeze. So, Deuteronomy 12:5-7. The tithe was to be brought to the place God chose for his name. Deuteronomy 14:22-27. The tithe was to be eaten in the presence of the Lord as worship and thanksgiving. So not only did the people bring their tithes to the church, they sat there and ate it in the presence of the Lord in the house. The very place they brought it. It was to bring that so they can fellowship. And churches do. I'm gonna, give them credit to that. They do things like that, similar. Like you bring, they cook on Sundays and people come there and they eat. But I think some churches sell the food. It's not like it's gifted and then cooked. They sell plates. But then I've been to churches where you just actually eat. You didn't have to give any money. It was for the people to come eat. Not all churches. You know what I noticed though? The churches that really give to the people, those are the ones that tend to be doing the worst, meaning financially. When they just offer and they give, and then they don't require the people to give that the tenth of what they have. They don't say anything to the people about it. I think they do, which shows that most of the people that go to church are out of alignment with giving, the gift of giving. Because if you are in a church, your job is to support that church. If that's your church, right? The proper way. I'm not talking about these shady preachers. But if they would have followed this blueprint right here, where bring some goods so we can store it up for hard times, like what's potentially about to happen to the communities that they serve. No, see what's going to happen, they're going to do a food drive. If they were following this on a yearly basis, there'll be so much food stored up already that who cares about a government shutdown? And really, this design, this blueprint was designed so you didn't have to worry about the government. This was the welfare system. This was the food stamp system in God's house. But these so-called Christian folks or these so-called religious folks are whining and crying about what they're about to lose. When the Bible clearly says, do not put your trust in earthly man. It says that clearly. Listen, let me get that scripture. If somebody knows it before I can find it, I don't remember the exact scripture. Psalms 146, 3-4. It says, put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. His breath goeth forth, he returneth to his earth. In that very day, his thoughts perish. I think it's Jeremiah 17:5. Let's look at that one. Jeremiah. Let's get that one. Curses the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart turns away from the Lord. So this is a lesson for everyone. Let's start with the sisters who are bitter because they got into a bad relationship with a man and he did them wrong. Maybe you didn't have God first. Maybe you didn't trust God to allow the right man to come into your house or come into your life. Maybe your trust was solely on what the man you was with, saying and doing. And because you had a false sense of trust, it allowed this man to come into your life and ruin it or cause problems for you. Same thing with men too. This is a lesson for all of us. Where should your first trust be? In your Creator. In the God within you, the God that speaks through you. That's where your first trust. It's some of us, we get with people, those red flags show up immediately almost. And then because we have some ulterior motive, whatever it is, maybe he got money, he seems like he got a means to take care of you so you don't have to work as hard, and you overlook those red flags. Then on top of that, you overlook the one guy who was working towards being prosperous. He wasn't good enough. He ain't there. See, some of y'all just want ready-made situations. Y'all want to jump into instant wealth. And if you poll the world, wealth is not instant in most cases. Most people are not born into wealth. Very few people are. And even if they have wealth, doesn't make them a good husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend. Sometimes the guy that you really need, the girl you really need, don't have a lot. They're working towards it. Most times that is the case. Because see, people are defined by the hardships they go through. Meaning, the more things they go through, the more refined they become. The more better they become if they are a person who can persevere and get through their tough times. So all this idea that you're just going to marry somebody who's just going to put you on easy street is a fantasy. I talk to a lot of females that talk like that. I'm like, okay, good luck. Because when the numbers just don't match up when you look at the people with wealth. And then the numbers of men versus women is a shortage. It's always been that way. And it's getting worse. Because men tend to die sooner than women. Even in birth, boys are not making it as much as the girls are. That's why we have so many girls versus boys. And then, the ones that society corrupt, they're not even marriage material. So you're better off. See, if you want a better person in your life, you got to be a better person. I'm a little off the tithing thing for a second. You got to be a better person. See, some people are just not good people and expect good people to come do them good, and they ain't even good people. Narcissist. And here's the other thing. If you want to be a husband or you want to be a wife, you got to practice that now before you get one. You got to put that into practice. So you need to study what is it like to be a wife, a good wife, not this nonsense that they got going on now. I'm talking about what is a good wife? What is a good husband? You got to practice that before you become one. Every job you get, you got to be trained for, right? Even if you get a job and you're not trained for it, they train you to do the position. Let's just say you get married and you're not really fully trained. That means you and your wife got to train. You and your husband got to train for that position. And you got to get counsel from good people, people that have made their marriages last. See, most people getting their advice from people who have failed relationships and can't hold on to a marriage. See, I stay out of things like that. Like, yeah, I'm not giving. If I'm not that successful, I'm the wrong person to give advice to you. Go get somebody who's got the maturity and that can train you. You need to be trained, but see, that's the thing. People want the good things they believe marriage can provide, but they don't want nothing to do with the problems that marriage provides. And one of the biggest problems is communication and being able to coexist and cooperate with each other and tolerate each other's differences. That's the issue. And let me get back to what I was talking about, tithing and the government, how we are sitting here a lot of us are so upset and marching and for the government to do this. And how about y'all march in there and pick up a Bible, pick up a holy book and read that? They don't think about that. They want to march in front of, oh, give me, do right. Y'all, that's idiotic. It's dumb. Did I tell you about the analogy somebody gave me that was totally, utterly insane? But I'm giving them grace because they don't even know what they said. I vote for the lesser of the two evils. Then I said, well, you're still voting for evil, well, even though one is lesser. That's it. There's no more this discussion. If I vote for evil, I'm voting for evil. Oh, one is evil and the more evil than the other one. No, you don't have to vote for nobody. That's the problem. If you have a biblical foundation, and if that's your foundation, the Bible is clear about not worrying about what they're doing over there in DC. And take care of your economy. If just on a small community level, everybody got together, let's just say 5 to 10 families got together and say, listen, let's all work together and prepare for the worst. Let's prepare. Okay, we get 10% of all of the food, grocery we got. We take 10% and store it. We pick a warehouse or a place to store this food. And you do that consistently. Because hard times don't stay here for long, right? They're short-lived. But by the time hard times come, guess what? Okay, we ain't got nothing to worry. We got a storage of food over here. We got what we need. Because our basic needs is what? A roof over our head and food. Right? Food and water. Drink food and water. That's all. That's really all we need. And clothing. Clothing is the easy part, because we got away from making our own clothes. All the stores are doing when they make clothes, and now they're putting toxic things in your clothes. Is doing what your grandmother and all of them were doing years ago were making, and they made those clothes better. Those are better quality clothes. So we don't need government to do anything for us. But see, what it is we contracted for what we believe was a more convenient life. They marketed to you, come allow us to do this for you in exchange for your labor. See, what happened is a group of corporations got together and figured out a way to make everybody an employee perpetually. We get these group of people to become employees, give them good benefits, give them pensions, make them feel good that when they get old, they'll still have just enough. They won't have wealth, but they'll have just enough to pay their bills until they die. Do y'all realize that program, what the programming really is? That program, the real underlying message behind that program is that you will get a job, make enough money so you could have a retirement and have enough, just enough, to continue paying your bills until the day you die. I'm aware of a person right now that was about to get married, and because one of them, I'm not going to say this man or woman, don't have a retirement saved up enough that they are reconsidering the marriage. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but what I'm showing you is that mindset of that person is programmed to look for just enough, because this person feels like they're not going to have enough if they share it with their potential spouse. See what the government did? See what they did? They made rules and they promoted ideologies to keep you from working with each other. Because, okay, why would I marry somebody and I don't want to share my resources? If I love this person, we're going to figure out a way. Okay, you ain't got enough, I got it. Let's figure out how to increase that in the future. No, they don't want it. They feel like I work hard for my stuff, I ain't sharing it, blah, blah, blah. You could tell the agenda by what I'm saying. I'm not saying I work too hard. Okay, rightfully so. You work too hard. But if you're a person who feel like you can't share your resources with a person you are wanting to commit marriage to, then you don't need to be married. You need to stay by yourself so that person doesn't take your resources, because they will, one way or the other. If you are with somebody, you got to share. That's a prerequisite of partnering up with people. You share your resources. And you build up with that person is weak and vice versa. There's no question that. That's a no questions asked situation when you talk about marriage. But see, that's a person who wants marriage because they're lonely and they just want a body next to them. That's a person who and just to dig deep into the story, they're actually living together. Come on. See, this is what has happened. This type of programming has made you just so selfish on what you have that you don't want to share it to no one, because they worked your ass so hard throughout your life to share it will be an inconvenience. So who really is God to these people? These people that are marching for the government to give them something. Who really is their God? The government. And it's exactly how they want it. The marching and the complaining is all feeding into the agenda that they created. It keeps it going. It feeds it. But if I sit back and say, man, fuck the government, I don't give a shit about what they doing. I know I'm reading the Bible, no cussings. If you don't, I know some of y'all have, bro, you cuss, hey, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm not changing. I'm not changing. Because that's really what you should be saying, man. What am I thinking? We're sitting up here complaining about what I'm about to lose when all of these resources out here to make money. I literally make money with my mind. Right? I think about something, I put it into action. I don't do no real hard manual labor. And I've been trying to tell you the secret to really wealth is the less work you do, hard manual work you do, the more money you will ever make. Because I can think faster than I can act on something. And I lay this blueprint out for a lot of people, and they still, why? Because they're so hardcore wired to man's system that they can't see what I'm actually telling them. Reverend Ike said it many times, like the guy Kentucky Fried Chicken became famous making chicken when it was women, black women, who made chicken 10 times, 20 times, 30 times better than that chicken. But why do people go to Kentucky Fried Chicken to buy the chicken? Because it was convenient. It was available. The mamas and the grandmamas and the daughters, the wives stop wanting to cook. See how it goes back? See how it goes back? So because y'all didn't want to cook and people don't want to cook, and I'm not saying women are the only ones to cook, because I cook. My father cooked. I watched him cook all my life. My mother and my father shared the cooking responsibilities. I got people in my family that cook better than some women, a lot of women. I mean, in other countries, men do a lot of cooking. The point I'm trying to make is our resources is right here in the skills of our hand and the recipes of our ancestors. Not in KFC, Chipotle, and all these other restaurants. Those are just dumbed down ideas of cooking. But the real cooking came from the home, the ancestors. Why? Because there's something spiritual about cooking. But they have programmed women into thinking that it was a burden, it's being a slave. No, it's something spiritual about cooking. When they took those meals to the temple, they had to cook it. It was cooked. And then they sat in the presence of the Lord and they ate. It was all part of a ritual of spiritual nourishment on a physical and mental level. Right? Physical, mental, spiritual. That's a trinity right there. See, if we went back to some of these, because when you really examine this and get deep in it, you start to see that food, cooking was a spiritual thing. And when you allow these strange places to cook your food, what spirituality are you taking in when you eat that food? Somebody who don't really want to cook your food and they putting that spirit of negativity into the meal. These are things to start thinking about. And when I say disassociating from anything that hinders your prosperity, that's one of them. Because if you stop eating out as much, one thing, your prosperity is going to go up. That's number one. And if you having a hard time paying bills, you have no business eating out, really. Let's go down here, right? Nehemiah 10:37 said the tithe of grain, wine, and oil was brought into the storerooms of the temple. So the wine just sat there and nobody drank it. So I don't even know why these churches come up with don't drink any wine. The Bible is clear. Jesus turned water into wine. And I go back to Deuteronomy 14:22-27. The tithe was to be eaten in the presence of the Lord as worship and thanksgiving. That's tithe. It's not. Do y'all see me talking about money here? In all these scriptures I'm reading, it had no mention of money. Nothing. But your church got you thinking it is. No, they take the lazy man's away the riches. So they manipulate a bunch of people into giving them their money. They go buy the fancy house, the planes and stuff, while you sit there and follow the programming of man and go work a job that you don't like and wait on your retirement. And when you realize this whole system is designed to really screw you over, that's what it's really about. And make you think you're getting something. This is why all these people are complaining. instead of pivoting and saying, you know what, maybe this is an opportunity to change my life, this shutdown. No, instead they double down and complain. And give me mine. Give me. You supposed to take care of me, government. Okay, well then this is how your God treats you, if that's the way you're looking. In ancient Israel, the tithe served several functions to sustain the Levitical priesthood, to promote worship and gratitude, and to ensure provisions for widows, orphans, and strangers. It was both economic and spiritual, a covenant expression of faithfulness. And this whole system of tithing also taught people how to be a part of a community, and taught people how to be giving and to look out for people. If we had that system in place today, there would be no one would have to hunger. Now, yes, do we have people who are lazy and just don't want anything? But that's largely because they don't understand their proper position when it relates to God. So they have no hope. So the only hope they think they got is the government. Prophetic and historical context. Throughout the prophetic writings, tithing symbolized covenant loyalty. Neglecting it reflected spiritual apostasy. The prophets called for genuine worship, not mechanical giving. Malachi's challenge, bring the full tithe into the storehouse, reveals God's desire for obedience and trust. The New Testament shifts emphasis from obligation to the heart of giving. Christ fulfills the law and establishes a new order of priesthood under the Melchizedek. Believers are stewards, not debtors. Matthew 23:23. Jesus acknowledges tithing but warns not to neglect justice, mercy, and faithfulness. 11:42. Rebuke the Pharisees, meticulous tithing yet lacking love of God. And that's what we got right now. That's what we have right now. That's the system we got right now. Luke chapter 11:42 is describing. Rebuke to Pharisees, meticulous tithing yet lacking love of God. They have a whole section in church on tithing. Whole ceremony. That's a ritual too. They pass the thing out, you give the money. Yes, churches do need money. They need to run. But that money is supposed to go back into the church, uplifting the church and taking care of. Yes, do I believe pastors should be taken care of? And if they're good people, yes. I believe that. But some of these places have taken it to the extreme. First Corinthians 16:2, Paul commands systematic giving according to prosperity. Now, some people, when they come to the government, I pay my tax and I'm paying for people to, this, that, and the other. But y'all do understand that the government is a religious entity too. That's why they got In God We Trust. That's why the founding documents talk about, and they have their prayers about God or looking out for them. It's a religious organization, and that's how they run it. So if you're part of the religious organization, those taxes that they're taking from you, that's supposed to go to other people, which it don't. So the welfare system, in a way, is like, you compare it to how what's happening here, where you're supposed to take care of your members. So they guess what? The government's doing their job. No matter how dysfunctional you thinking, but is your church doing that? Is your church emulating that? Listen, I'm telling y'all, whether you want to believe it or not, the reason why largely the government is successful at what it does, because it's following these types of principles when you really look at it. But see, some of y'all want to rebuke the government, talk against the government, and then take a handout from them at the same time. So what happens when you do that? God is going to lead you to it. That's the leader. That's the God you want. That's the leadership you want. Have it. And you take everything that goes with that. But he also says, if you put your trust in me, I take care of you. But most people have trust in government more than they have trust in God. That's a fact. 1 Corinthians 16:2, Paul commands systematic giving according to prosperity. 2 Corinthians 9:6-7, God loves a cheerful giver. Giving must be voluntary, not compulsory. Remember that. You don't have to give, but remember, not giving leads to poverty. Yes, it does. If you look at it, most wealthy people have foundation for whatever tax write-off they get. They have foundations and they give away millions of dollars a year. Hebrews 7:1-9. Abraham's tithe to Melchizedek prefigures Christ's priesthood. Hebrews 13:6. Doing good and sharing with others is a sacrifice pleasing to God. So when the government is giving y'all a handout, guess what? You're not entitled to that. They don't have to do that. Oh, you supporting the government now? No, it's not that I'm supporting the government. I'm trying to get to good people to look at it for what it really is. All these people complaining about not getting it. They should have been thankful for as long as they got it. You're not going to get it now? Okay, go now do something else. Be thankful that you have it. See, people are complaining. They're going to take it and complaining and getting upset and wanting to fight over it. Like it's an entitlement. No. Giving is not compulsory, it's voluntary. And when they're giving you something, it's a gift. And when you take a gift, it comes with requirements. Y'all know those applications. You can't work, you can't have this, you can't have that. If you have to make a certain to get those. This is how the system has got people head messed up. Any benefit you get says that you are poor. You don't have enough to meet your own needs. And you also bringing reproach on God himself, who is your creator, by, wait a minute, I don't have enough. My God ain't helping me, so I'm coming to you. That's exactly what you're saying on a spiritual level. Other people talk about, oh, I want to be wealthy and I want to do this, I want to have this and that, I want to have this. But yet, when you really look at their life, the real God they got is those benefits that the government gives them. That's the daddy. And I guess you ain't got to sleep with that daddy though. But you got to get in bed with him. What I mean by getting in bed, you got to follow his rules. Daddy got rules. He got the rules. You can't make but so much money to keep the benefits. You can't own but so much property to keep the benefits. Are y'all getting my point? Daddy, you got to continue to be, for me to support you, you got to stay broke. You got to be a broke person. And what kind of spiritual energy is that you putting on yourself? Man, take an inventory of your life. And you need to get away from that run far away as much as you can. Now, I do realize these benefits is not just going to the able-bodied. You have elderly that need it. See, those are the people that need it. Elderly people, you have disabled people. And this is why even the Bible, they were very specific about who got it. Widows, people who didn't have a male leadership in the house and they needed a little help. Strangers who came into the land that didn't have a place, they was to help them. Children. Right? But we got people just having kids just to get benefits. But there's a large community of people that are going to suffer. But if the church was doing the job properly, those benefits going away would be a blip. Be like, okay, let's switch to this. We done stored up all the things as God had commanded us through these books that we teach on every week. Let's store up. And we got this store, we're going to take care of our people. The people that are able-bodied and have the attempt to give, and that shouldn't be a whole lot, right? Because everybody got something to give no matter what. You can go out and grow some crops and give a tenth to that. No matter how big, you can grow crops in your house. You don't even need, now they got hydroponics and all that. You don't even need dirt anymore. Doing good and sharing with others is a sacrifice pleasing to God. See, that's how giving to others is the sacrifice. In the new covenant, principle of tithing evolves into spirit-led generosity. The believer gives as he has purposed in his heart. The early church's giving pattern reflected equality, community, and compassion rather than legal measure. Yet the tithe remains a foundational benchmark of stewardship for many ministries today. Tithing and offering reflect divine order. They remind believers that all provision originates from God. In ministry, these principles should be taught not as burdens, but as invitations to partnership in God's economy. So, you should be creating an economy, a spiritual economy that's insulated from all of the world's issues. Tithe acknowledges God's ownership. It sustains priestly service and ministry function. It ensures community care for the needy. It trains the heart in reverence and gratitude. It invites blessing through obedience. It develops cheerful, willing generosity. The true spirit of tithing is covenantal. It is not merely financial, but relational. A continual acknowledgement of the Creator as source and sustainer of all increase. When properly administered, the tithe builds sacred economy, worship provisions, and compassion all in one divine cycle. The scriptural record demonstrates that tithing was never simply taxation, but worship. So it's a form of worship. It bound Israel to divine law and demanded them that all blessings flow from the Lord. In the new covenant, Christ perfects the principle through grace, moving giving from command to compassion. Thus, while forms may change, the spirit of stewardship endures forever. And there you have it. Let's see what the chat says. Y'all have peace, health, and wealth to all from Datu of Lutzen. Saying back to you. Jason Gunn says peace and peace and all great vibes. Start out the week. Yeah, man, we ain't got to complain about what them people saying and what they not giving when you have the ability to do it yourself with community. It don't take many. And I hear a lot of people concerned with government shutdown and what's about to happen and all these things. And listen, what's going to happen is going to happen. You're just going to have to live with it and figure it out. We'll figure it out. Society, all of the clamor things that happen, the disastrous things that happen over here, we somehow get through it. Okay? And there you have it. That's all I have to say on the subject. Peace. I had to put my dress up clothes on because, you know, when I'm talking about the church and what they're doing, this guy with a baseball cap, he talking trash. Nah, okay, I'm gonna dress like y'all dress and come with it. Can't deny what I'm saying. It can't be denied. All right, y'all have a good week. I'll see y'all on Tuesday. Peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to everyone. Have a good one. So imagine if you was armed with the knowledge that the feminine aspect is wisdom. So now you know what to look for in a wife, a woman who has wisdom. And I mean, look around us. Look around. There's not many of that going on. Wisdom. Everybody's chasing after the next fad or trend. You see, everybody's doing things that are not wise. Why? Because we come from a system that taught us not to be wise. They taught us that we needed their education system to go get a job. That's not wisdom. That's not wise, because that's not what God gave us. Remember, wisdom is worth more than gold, silver, and any riches you got. See, when they told the story of Solomon when he became king and God asked him what he wanted, he said wisdom. This here, it really opens your eyes up to why they took this out, so that you don't see the power of both man and woman. So they had to choose one. They chose one and put the other one down, and you need them together. See, that man, Solomon, knew he needed wisdom. He needed that feminine aspect of knowledge and understanding and compassion.